I am ready to unveil my master infiltration plan.
I keep noticing these freaking things.
Screenstalker, the entire reason that I invaded WrestleTalk in the first place.
What is Eye Patch Fox?
And what better place to do it than after the biggest WWE show of the year?
We're a wrestling show. Have a Zack Ryder.
I think the cleaners have been leaving them.
WWE Fastlane, baby.
Support WrestleTalk!
Thank you for being an awesome pledge hammer, Ben! Hey now, you're a rock star, Haley. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk MECHANews! I am Luke Owen. Press the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button harder than WWE hits the reset button and help us reach 1 million subscribers. And answer our question of the day in the comments down below. Who did put these weird video game thingies on our Wrestle Ramble set? I mean, it wasn't me. I don't even like Sonic the Hedgehog. We've got a packed news show for you today, including Becky Lynch's return to Monday Night Raw, WrestleMania plans being up in the air, and Vince McMahon reportedly demanding the return of Roman Reigns. But first, Hulk Hogan was one of the few names to move from the wrestling ring into the world of movies and do it successfully, if you consider cinematic flop Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny successes, which I sure do. But it's now being reported by The Hollywood Reporter that Hogan won't be starring in his next movie, as the movie will instead be about him. THR are reporting that Netflix are currently developing a Hogan biopic, which will star Chris Hemsworth as the Hulkster. The movie will be directed by Todd Phillips, not that one, he's Tom Phillips apparently, and will be produced by Hemsworth and Eric Bischoff along with Bradley Cooper, who is set to play Vince McMahon in a long gestating biopic of the WWE chairman. Is this the start of the WWE cinematic universe? Although he has become something of a controversial figure as of late, this movie is set to focus on all of the non-racist stuff, like the rise of Hulkamania and WWF's Rock and Wrestling. Mike Johnson of PW Insider has added to this story, saying Netflix is very high on the project, but notes a script hasn't even been written yet, which will be done by Stronger's John Polino and Scott Silver, who recently wrote DC's Joker movie. Johnson reports that once Netflix are happy with the script, they will jump right into production. Thankfully, Hemsworth has already been working on his Hoganisms, as seen in this clip from Avengers Infinity War.
You really are the worst, brother.
Maybe Hemsworth will grace Raw and SmackDown with his utter beautiful presence. He is so incredibly handsome! And if the new report is to be believed, he won't be the only non-wrestler in active talks with the company. Last year it was reported that WWE were interested bringing in tennis legend Serena Williams as part of their women's division. Well, according to Slice Wrestling, who do have a fairly good track record of backstage scoops, WWE are still in progressive talks with Williams, with Stephanie McMahon leading the negotiations. Maybe Serena can give Raw and SmackDown a much needed ratings boost, although going by this week, she may not be needed. Coming off the back of Elimination Chamber, Monday Night's Raw posted one of its best ratings in weeks, with an average audience of 2.7 million viewers, which even tops the Raw after the Royal Rumble. And it's the first time in months that WWE has had over 3 million people watching Raw at least for the first hour. The show, which featured the main roster debuts of Ricochet, Aleister Black, and the oddly babyface DIY, You Still Don't Make Sense, did however suffer a massive 20% drop-off of its audience going into the third hour, which is one of the 10 biggest audience drop-offs in WWE history. But what did you think of the show? Ollie Davis called it one of the worst Raws he's ever had to review, and it seems to have split opinions across the board, with 26% agreeing it was rawful and 34% saying it was average. SmackDown also received a bump in their ratings, which could be attributed to the rising success of Kofi Kingston and WWE announcing ahead of time that Daniel Bryan's Fastlane match would be revealed, and was likely helped by those NXT debuts from Monday. The show averaged 2.2 million viewers, which is the best number the show has had since November last year. But what did you think of the show? I gave it a smacktastic, and 64% of you agreed, with 24% thinking the show was smack bang in the middle. But as we've heard all week, there are lots of reports going around that Vince McMahon is panicking about the falling ratings for both Raw and and SmackDown, which are 15 and 13% down year on year respectively. And that could play into a new report from Mike Johnson of PW Insider, who is claiming that Becky Lynch will be returning to Raw this coming Monday and will likely be part of the Ric Flair birthday celebrations. And it's seemingly not just the Raw and SmackDown booking plans that are up in the air right now, with Dave Meltzer reporting in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that very little of Mania this year is finalized, which is unprecedented for this late in the game. As of now, there are only 2 matches announced for the second biggest show of the year behind WWE Fastlane Baby, with Seth Rollins challenging Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship and Charlotte Flair taking on Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship, though that will likely change to a triple threat with Becky Lynch. And reportedly, Daniel Bryan doesn't have a WrestleMania opponent decided yet. It had previously been reported by Dave Meltzer that 2 names were being touted for matches against Bryan, and those 2 names were Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt. And now Bleacher Report are claiming their sources have told them it will be Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. However, there is that Kofi Kingston question, who has had a meteoric rise as one of the top baby faces on the blue brand in the last couple of weeks. Meltzer notes in The Observer that Bryan vs Kofi at Fastlane was not the original plan, but WWE changed their mind and booked the match based on the crowd reactions at Elimination Chamber and the social media traction his push got on Twitter. So there is a chance he could be involved in some capacity. One of the other matches that has been reportedly discussed is a retirement match for Kurt Angle, which was seemingly teased on Raw, with Kurt picking up losses to Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin, and he even teased a retirement speech a few weeks ago. However, a new report from Meltzer says that match is currently undecided and might not happen now. Someone else without a match is SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka, who was shockingly pinned this week by Mandy Rose on SmackDown TV. While Asuka vs Rose for the title is likely going to take place at Fastlane Baby, Asuka doesn't have a WrestleMania opponent lined up. Reportedly, Asuka was set to face Lacey Evans for the SmackDown Women's Championship, however that match may not happen according to the Wrestling Observer. Meltzer does add, however, that WWE are very high on Evans at the moment because they think she can be a star outside of WWE as well as in the ring, and have even lined her up to be part of the top 3 women in the entire company alongside Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch when Ronda Rousey leaves after WrestleMania. Another undecided match is what to do with the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Bayley and Sasha Banks. They're set to face Nia Jax and Tamina at WWE Fastlane Baby, but nothing is reportedly lined up for WrestleMania. Meltzer has said in The Observer that one idea pitched was a 4-way tag with Bayley and Banks defending against a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from NXT, but those talks didn't get too far, and it's not on the show as of right now. Maybe the reason plans for Mania are so up in the air is because WWE have yet to come to terms with a lot of the big names they like to have on the Mania card. Despite calling up 4 names from NXT this week and announcing 6 others just a couple of months earlier, WWE are reportedly trying to reach agreements with Batista and The Undertaker for WrestleMania matches and have yet to make a decision on who John Cena will be facing. The original plan for Cena was to face Lars Sullivan, a feud which would have started just before the Royal Rumble, but Sullivan's anxiety attacks have kept him from appearing on TV, and that storyline has now fallen through. Cena was also reportedly set to face Drew McIntyre, with Drew filling in the Lars spot by taking Cena out before the Rumble, but those plans weren't followed up with either. And perhaps one of the reasons WWE desperately wants to book an Undertaker match for Mania now is because the Dead Man has been announced for StarCast Part 2. Vince was reportedly furious that The Undertaker is going to be part of the show, because although StarCast is not an all-elite wrestling product, it's a Conrad Thompson of Something to Wrestle With events, it is tied to AEW's Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. And according to a new report from Dave Meltzer, Vince wanted Undertaker off StarCast, but there was no legal way he could have done it. Ollie Davis detailed the crazy week for Vince McMahon in yesterday's Super News, going over how Vince McMahon is panicking about declining ratings, poor ticket sales, the rise of All Elite Wrestling, and his current main roster being stale. It was this panic that led McMahon deciding last week he wanted to hit the reset button once again and bring up Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa to the main roster to put on some good matches. By some accounts, he did this without consulting NXT's Triple H, and he was caught off guard by the call-ups, which is why they didn't tie into any of the NXT continuity, like Gargano and Ciampa being in a blood feud. And according to a new report, this panicked Vince McMahon is now setting his sights on bringing back one of his biggest stars of the last few years, Roman Reigns. According to British tabloids The Sun and the Daily Star, Vince McMahon demanded Roman Reigns return to WWE and wrestle at WrestleMania 35. Reigns hasn't been seen on WWE TV since he shockingly announced that he was battling leukemia back in October last year, relinquishing the Universal Championship, which was won by Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel. Both tabloids claimed that the signs of Roman returning include Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley hitting the triple powerbomb on Braun Strowman at Elimination Chamber, which Vince reportedly instructed the commentators to make mention of, and the sudden babyface turn for Dean Ambrose. Both the Daily Star and the Sun claim that the plan is for Roman to team with Ambrose and Strowman to take on Corbin, McIntyre and Lashley at WrestleMania. Now, for any of our non-UK viewers, I do want to point out that the Sun is a wretched hive of scum and villainy, known for making up any old nonsense just to sell papers, and often inflate stories to make them seem bigger than they are, and the Daily Star are not much better. Further to this, both tabloids claim the story was first reported by WrestlingNews.co, but they don't have that story anywhere on their website, and neither tabloid provides a backlink to the original source. So normally we would tell you to chalk this one up to pure random speculation and nonsense, or at the very least tell you to take it with a pinch of salt. And then Vince McMahon announced via Twitter that Roman Reigns was coming back to Raw this coming Monday to address his leukemia battle, because exploiting people's real-life illnesses equals ratings. You couple this with the report of Becky Lynch being on the show, as well as those NXT call-ups, and WWE are clearly hopeful for a big rating this coming Monday. Many WWE stars have responded to this news positively, happy to see their locker room leader back in the company, even if it is just for one night. Triple H tweeted that no one fights harder, Sasha Banks and Natalya both tweeted a series of emojis, Curtis Axel and Aiden English welcome back Big Oos, and Rusev asked for a spear and Superman punch. And if you want to stay on top of all the latest wrestling news as it happens, WrestleTalk.com have launched WrestleTalk News Live, where the WrestleTalks post live news updates, such as Mike Kanellis saying he wants to wrestle for NXT UK. Or is that just another cryptic post about asking for his release? Thank you for watching, and thank you to all the names scrolling into my stomach for being our awesome pledge hammers on Patreon. Give me all those names. Nom 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 nom. And be sure to watch that video over there of Ollie Davis going through the details of Vince McMahon's panicky week. I've been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling. Nom 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 nom.